Hello everyone, it's your girl Tinuade of Style by He. You're welcome to another beautiful tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful bubu gown with stylish neckline and sleeve and fitted waistline, okay? Using the simplest method possible. The design on the neckline and the sleeve parts was made with ashoke. So if you are the type that likes something simple yet elegant, or you have a client like that, so this tutorial here for you. So without much ado, let's jump right into the tutorial. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into 4 because I'll be cutting the front and the back pieces together. I've also drawn out my starting line, which is also my shoulder line. And the first thing I'll be doing is to impute my neck width, and I'll be using 3.5 inches for the neck width. And again, I'll be coming down from my starting line there by 2 inches. Then I'll go ahead and connect my neck width to that 2 inches that I mark to make my shoulder slope. I'll be using 1.5 for my neck depth. Yes, so I'm working on the back piece first, then we'll later use the back piece to make some adjustments on the front piece. From my starting line, I'll be measuring 24 inches. This is how much I want my sleeve to open. You can do less than that if you desire, but in this case I'll be using 24 inches. I'll go ahead and connect that into a straight line, okay? And the length that I have there is the actual length of my cleanse plus 1 inch. So let's go back to how to know exactly what to put the fabric to put on fold for your bubu, okay? It's half of my shoulder measurement plus your sleeve length, okay? Half of your shoulder measurement plus your sleeve length. That will give you what to put on fold for your bubu. But in this case, my sleeve length is 17 inches, but I'll be measuring 12 inches because I'll be completing it with the hashoke, okay? And this is the hashoke that I'll be using to complete the sleeve, and I'll be using to make design around the neck part. So my hashoke is 6 inches in length. So by the time I join into the 12 inches sleeve length, using half an inch on the sleeve and on the hashoke as my sewing allowance, I should have my 17 inches. So on my sleeve opening line, which is the 25 inches mark that we made earlier, I'll be marking quarter of my hip measurement plus 3 inches. Yes, the 3 inches includes my sewing allowance of 1 inch and 2 inches for his. I'll then go ahead and transfer that same measurement at the hem of the dress, then connect to form a straight line. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to add half an inch to the shoulder. That will be for the joining, okay? And again, I will take a neck depth of 7.5 inches for my front, okay? Remember, the 1.5 we took at first is our back neck depth. So now I'll be taking neck depth of 7.5 inches for my front neckline. To get your neckline, please use a straight ruler, okay? Because our hashoke is not curved, so that was why I had to change to a straight ruler. So having gotten our front and back neckline, I will label that my front neckline while the other one is for the back. So the next thing we are going to do now is to cut, and we are going to be cutting our back piece first, okay? Please don't make that mistake of cutting the front piece first. So we'll cut the back neck, then followed by the shoulder by cutting through the half an inch that we added, okay? Then we'll go to the hem, then I'll trim it up. So I'll go ahead and take one of the pieces out so that I can trim out my neckline, which will be serving as my front piece. So this is me removing one of the pieces so that I can have the other one here, okay? So I'll go ahead and trim out the neckline just the way we marked it, and here we are, my dear beautiful people. We are as good as done. So I'll go ahead and label that my front piece and the other one my back piece. And the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to cut out facing for both the front and the back neck. Because I don't have enough of the African print, I'll be using this lining material, okay, for my facing. So I'll go ahead and fold it into two, okay, and place it under the African print like so, making sure that the two folded edge match each other, okay. I can even go ahead and secure it with pins. Then I'll take my scissors and trim out the neckline and the shoulder line, just as you see me do. So after tracing it out, I'll go ahead and lift up my fashion fabric up, then take my chalk, then measure 3.5 inches, just as you see me do. I'll mark it around the neckline, okay, then go ahead and cut out. Then we have our back facing. So after having my back facing, I'll go ahead and trim that part so that I can have a straight edge. Then place my front neckline, making sure that the folded edge, just as we did when cutting the back, I'll make sure that the folded edge is matching. Then I'll trim out the neck, then the shoulder, then I'll flip it up and mark 3.5 inches round, just like we did at the back. So we have here our front facing and our back facing. So the next thing we are going to do now is to attach them to the main fashion fabric. So I won't be adding hairstay to my facing because the fabric is on its own, it's a bit thick. So I'll go ahead and place my front facing on the main fashion fabric like so. I'll secure it with pins, then take it to my sewing machine to stitch down. I'll be stitching with 1/4 inch, okay. I'll repeat the same thing for the back. I'll place the back facing on the back fashion fabric, okay, just as you see me do. I'll secure with pin and also stitch with 1/4 inch, okay. Then I'll bring it back to show us what next to do. So this is it. I've gone ahead to stitch the facing to the neckline with 1/4 inch, and this is what I have. I've also gone ahead to fold the hem, the down part of the facing, okay. I folded it. If you have a serger, in this case you can go ahead and serge it. I've gone ahead to fold mine, okay, and I also went ahead to stop stitch after stitching the neckline. I went ahead to stop stitch it so that we can have a relaxed neckline, okay. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to be pressing down my facing, okay, and I'm going to be going ahead to secure the facing with this hemming gum, okay. I went ahead to double the hemming gum under the facing like so, and I'll go ahead and iron with my steam iron, okay. So before you proceed to iron, you can secure with pins so that you won't have to be struggling with it while ironing, okay. So this is me placing it under the front facing too, okay, and I also went ahead to secure it with pins so that I'll just have everything in place when I want to press it. So after pressing my facing, this is what I have. You can see that it is well laid, okay, and that's my back piece, and you can see how it is looking, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to set aside my back piece, and we'll go ahead and work on the front piece. So the first thing I'm going to be doing now, in order to create a neck design, is to fold my front piece into two, just as you see me do, and I'll go ahead and secure with pins. So after securing with pins, the next thing I'm going to do is to come in with my tape and measure from my shoulder and take the measurement of where I want the front design to stop, okay. So from my shoulder I'll measure 22 inches because I don't want the front design to cover up the logo that is in front of my fabric there. So I'll just stop at 21 inches. So just measure as it suits you. Okay, so that is step one. The step two is to iron out my front crease line there, just the way I folded it. I'll go ahead and press it so that it will give me a crease line. This step is really important because it will serve as a guide for me when placing my front design. Okay, I know there are different methods of placing this ashoke at the front, but I consider this as the easiest method. Okay, just make sure to pay a very close attention. The first thing I'm going to do is to place my ashoke, making sure that there is excess at the shoulder part that way. Okay, then I will trace my neckline at the edge just like so. I'll go ahead and secure it with pin at that point, making sure that the edge of the ashoke is sitting right at the edge of the V line there. That is step one. So having secured it with pins at the shoulder parts and at the point where the V neck ends, I'll go ahead and slant it like so, such that the other edge of the ashoke is sitting right at where I want the front design to stop. Okay, please just pay very close attention to what I'm doing. So at that point where the other edge of the ashoke meets with where I want the front design to stop, I'll go ahead and secure with pins too. Okay, that makes it the third point where we pin down the shoulder, the V neck part, and that point. Okay, so after securing with pins, now I'll go ahead and flip the remaining ashoke towards the other side, just the way you see me do. So after flipping it like so, just the way you see me do, I'll come in with my iron and I'll press it down such that it creates a crease line on the ashoke, and the edge of the crease line is sitting right on the edge of the fashion fabric, such that the fashion fabric and the crease line on the ashoke, they are sitting on each other. Okay, so after that, I'll come in with my scissors and cut out the ashoke, making sure that it is up to 2 to 3 inches below where I want the front design to stop. Okay, so you can see the crease line that we created there on the ashoke. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to come in with my ruler and chalk and highlight that crease line very well so that it can be visible enough. After that, I'll go ahead and unpin the ashoke. Then I will replicate the particular piece of ashoke that we cut out. Okay, I'm going to cut another one of that same type. Okay, so I'll go ahead and replicate it, then show us what needs to do. So after cutting another piece, I'll go ahead and place them on each other like so, then secure with pins, then take to my sewing machine and stitch on this line that we drew, that crease line we created. I'll go ahead and stitch on it like so, then bring it back to show us what needs to do. So after stitching, this is what I have. I'm just going to go ahead and trim it, making sure that I leave like half an inch away from my stitch. So after trimming, you should have something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead now and press open the allowance there. So after ironing, this is what I have. You can see how neat the front is. Okay, can you see that the lines are really corresponding, and they are so neat. Okay, so this is what we have, and our front design is ready. So all we are going to do now is to unpin the front piece. I'm going to open it out now, then I'll place the ashoke on it, making sure that the edge of the ashoke, that is the V part there, matches with the crease line that I formed on the African print. So what we are going to do now is just to place our design on the African print, and just make sure that the joining of the hashioke is sitting right at the crease line that you formed at the center of the African print. Okay, so, okay, and make sure that the neckline are matching. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to come in with my hemming gum just to hold it in place, so that by the time I'm stitching it won't be shifting. Okay, so it is as good as just using your office pin. Okay, whichever one works for you, whether pin or using your hemming gum to secure it, just go for it. So now that I'm sure that my hashioke is properly secured, I'll go ahead and take to my sewing machine, following the black line there. Okay, the black line of the hashioke is what I'm going to follow to stitch down, because I'll be using black thread. Okay, so if just make sure that whichever color of hashioke you are using, make sure you use a matching color of thread. Okay, so that it will conceal stitch. So I'm done stitching, and this is what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to turn to the wrong side so that I can see the excess of the hashioke that I have there. Then I'll go ahead and trim it out. Okay, so you can see how the back is also very neat. So I'll go ahead and trim out the excess that I have at the shoulder part there. Then I'll go ahead and place my back piece on the front piece, making sure that the right sides are facing each other. Then I'll go ahead and stitch the shoulder with 1/2 inch. Then I'll bring it back to show us what next to do. So I'm done joining the sleeve, and this is what I have. Okay, so you can see. So what I'm going to do now is to join this to our sleeve. Okay, hope you can understand the way I opened it out. Yes, see, so this is my sleeve. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to join my sleeve to this hashioke. Remember, we shorten the length of the sleeve because we'll be attaching this hashioke to it. So I'll go ahead and join it. Okay, so I've joined it, and this is what we have. I went ahead to stop stitch it so that that part can relax. Okay, so that the hashioke can relax. After joining with 1/2 inch, I went ahead to stop stitch it, and this is what I have. You can see how beautiful the sleeve is looking. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to stitch with 1 inch. Remember, we left 3 inches allowance, using 2 inches as ease, while 1 inch is our seam allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and take down 1 inch and sew the 2 sides of this bubu. Then I'll bring it back to show us what needs to do. Then lest I forget, I'm going to be leaving 8 inches at the lower part of this bubu, so that will serve as a slit. This is totally optional. You can choose to just close it up. So I've gone ahead to stitch the 2 sides with 1 inch, and I have also gone ahead to finish the slits that we left at the 2 sides. Then I also hem the lower part with 1/2 inch. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to give that corner a notch. Okay, you just give it in snipes so that the bubu can relax very well. When you turn it to the right side, just go ahead and give it a snipe, and be careful not to cut through the stitch. Okay, so after turning to the right side, this is what I have. This is the sleeve, and you can see everything is looking so neat and beautiful. Okay, so the last thing we are going to do now is to take our measurement on this bubu. Remember, the bubu has this kind of snatching effects. Okay, so that's what we are going to do now, and this is how we are going to do it. You are going to measure from your shoulder there. You're going to take 10 inches. Okay, and the joining of this bubu, the front design, will serve our center front. Remember, that is our center front. Okay, so from there you are going to measure quarter of your bust measurements plus 1 inch. Okay, quarter of your bust measurement plus 1 inch. You take it, then at that shoulder part you take your half length. Okay, you impute quarter of your waist circumference plus 1 inch. Okay, then you can go ahead and connect your waist measurement to the bust measurement like so. Then you go ahead and blend the waist into the sleeve end. Yes, the end of our sleeve, where our sleeve stop, you just go ahead and blend it in like so. Okay, you just go ahead and blend it in. I'll be repeating the same thing at the other side. Quarter of my bust measurement, quarter of my waist measurement plus 1 inch. Okay, making use of the waistline as the center. Okay, so I'll go ahead and repeat it at the other side, and I'll create my shape at the other side. Then I'll take to my sewing machine and stitch on the line that I already made on it. Then I'll bring it back to show us what next to do. I've gone ahead to run my stitch on the line that I made. Okay, and I did that on the 2 sides of this bubu. So we have come to the end of this beautiful tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning into this channel. It's good having you here. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified when I upload new tutorial. So thank you very much, and see you in my next one. Bye.